Hi, welcome to this mini learning from my human in the loop experiment where I am putting myself in the AI loop. Now let me explain what you can see on this screen here, but let me start by articulating the problem in mind. In many small businesses that I've consulted with, I have worked in, launched, or what have you, we don't really have a big data problem. What we have is a small data problem, and we've got a data fragmentation problem. And more often than not, when consultants used to come into my business, the answer used to be, hey, you need a single database. And that just became a turgid waste of time and never really worked. But the problem remains. You still need to or want to be able to ask all these questions and get the right answer. And I've got many more questions that a business owner would ask, someone who's operationally involved would ask, and so on. My thought experiment, for want of a better word, was what if? What if you could ask these questions from inside your GPT and you can connect them to the snapshots of data which are in BigQuery, and as a tool and a platform, it is just as useful for a small business, just as useful for small data. So you'd ask the question to the GPT, there'd be a connection, and you'd get the results from data in BigQuery. What you can do, and it's so simple to do it, set up this connection. I'll show you it in a second, really easily. Nearly all the systems that I know of that would be useful to a small business will allow you to relatively easily feed data into BigQuery. So you can now end up with lots of different data tables. But the answer really isn't, hey, let's mush all of these into one massive data table. I think we now have an opportunity, as the GPTs are getting better at writing code and querying data, to leverage our small data. We can ask these questions. These things will know which tables to go to for the answers, and they'll return the answers. Let me show you my proof of concept now, because I literally just got it working and it's super exciting, so I'm recording this right just in time. So here's my conversation with Claude. You can read the screen while I'm running through it. I basically said, you've got a new action that allows you to query any table in my quick BigQuery dataset. I just need to give you the address. And that is what I did. So I went in here and I said, okay, let's try it. Here's the address. This is some of the information that I would like to do. And it pulls it all back. Again, still not very interesting at the moment, but here's the interesting thing. I now went, now that you've got this and you understand this data, tell me what are our top 4 content themes. It goes off and does a bunch of analysis because, again, remember, these things are getting trained and trained and trained to get better and better at generating code and using languages which are deterministic, like SQL and so on. So you, as a business owner, whatever, you don't need to write this stuff. You just need to know how to articulate your questions. It'll go off and do these analyses. So you can see it's pulled everything back. And it's given me the answer, which, as a starter for 10, considering we're only just starting to explore, is pretty good. Tells me exactly across all the platforms where my content is, what it's focusing on, and what it's doing. A really good view of where the data is. So it doesn't take a huge leap of faith to say, what if I can get my Google Analytics data into BigQuery, which again is just a bunch of clicks, and you can do that. What if I can get my LinkedIn post performance into BigQuery, which is again just a bunch of clicks, and you can do that. What if I can get my YouTube performance into BigQuery, which is what we've done, and it's simpler than you would think. And you carry on in that vein. What questions could I ask? What information can I get? And bear in mind, it'll probably be the most recent information. What does that do to your operations within your business? Leadership can ask the questions it wants. Operational team can ask the questions it wants. And for me, with my human in the loop journey, where there are two experiments. One is personal productivity. The other one is, what would a media business look like? A small, mid-sized media business look like? And what superpower could it get by leveraging generative AI? And I think this has to be one of them. Now, you've got SaaS platforms that do this, and I have tried them. But my problem with them is that they're again putting inertia in the way. You have to set up the connector and all that sort of stuff. But I think, or I feel anyway, doing it this way gives you more control, allows you to really train the models to what your business is doing rather than picking up some generic faff. We have a small data problem. We don't have a big data problem. Why would we be paying for a SaaS platform that solves all of this on big data when we can recreate it ourselves, leverage our small data, and get insights right away? I may be missing something, but why wouldn't we be doing this? Thank you for watching. As you can tell, I'm pretty excited about this breakthrough in my human in the loop journey, and I'll be sharing more. So you know what to do. Subscribe, like, and so on, or dislike if you don't like it. All these signals are useful to me. Thanks again for watching.